What's up, everybody? I've been wanting to talk about this, so I'm gonna get to it. Especially since we've had the new trailer that's come out to definitely mixed reactions, which I'm not surprised at. Um, but let's start in the good old days, I would say, with this because Gladiator, man. I've always said this. This is one of my favorite movies ever, and it it always does something for me. I always tear up when I see the shit. It's just like it's beautiful, you know. There's only I'm trying to think of movies that make me like damn, like just make me tear up. Um, I mean, definitely Gladiator. This ending moment is like one of the saddest. It's sad, but it's also really like it's just perfect. When when Scarface kills Manolo, had to turn away when Tony shot Manolo. That's real. That's real. That shit was like, that shit's sad. That shit would make you tear up, man. Because you're like, that's his boy. Like, his man's like ride or die, man. And the music, it's just perfect. So that's another one. But definitely Gladiator is like in the top, maybe top three, top one for me. Anyway, let's react to this a bit. Oh, I was so happy. Sorry, I might stop this a number of times because it's like frame for frame perfect. I was so happy when this guy got killed. Oh my god, is Commodus the worst? I remember when I saw this the first time. I wish I saw this in theater. Oh my god, I saw this shortly after it came out. Because I think at the time when this came out, 2000, yeah, I was in Saudi and there was no movie theaters. When I tell you guys that like you don't know what you people in the Western world do not know the joys and the basic stuff that they're experiencing because they live in a free society. Like you don't understand. That's why you have to always when you're projecting your own opinions on what's going on outside in the outside world, the first thing you should ask yourself is that a free society? And if they're not, then why am I trying to defend them? You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, free societies are amazing. The fact that you can walk into a movie theater with your girl, sit down, that's a luxury that you couldn't do it back in the days in Saudi Arabia. You just couldn't do it. Anyway, the point is, I saw this shortly after it came out. Well, a year or so after, maybe. I'm not sure. It was in the early 2000s when I saw this movie. And it was like, it made an impression on me for sure. And you know what's interesting? People love this movie now, and I'm sure people absolutely loved it back then too. But I also remember film snobs being like, "Oh, well, that's just a popular movie. It's not that great." I remember that shit. Trust me, I remember people downplaying just how great this movie was, and that's always the thing, dude. When you make great art, there's always going to be people that downplay that shit, and then as the years go by and the replay value shows that it's actually in fact phenomenal, somehow those people just disappear or their opinions we just don't talk about how they were dead wrong about it. So I'm rambling. Commodus, I hated this motherfucker. I've never wanted someone to die so badly in a movie. I was like, ah, because to me, Commodus is the ultimate hater. Right? It's a brilliant villain. Joaquin Phoenix does a phenomenal job with this. This dude is literally the worst kind of hater. He's not like your typical action movie villain, which I watch, because usually action movie villains are actually about that life. You might not like them as people, but they actually will hold the gun. They physically train to be better than you. They fight, whatever, or their organizational skills are so great, whatever. This is not Hans Gruber. This is not Agent Smith, right? Those people were about that life. Commodus was not about that life. He was a clown and a cornball who wanted to be about that life, but deep down knew he was a coward and would never be about that life. But then, and that's one side of it. Okay, fine, you're not about that life. But how you gonna hate on like Maximus, who are actually good dudes, who are about that action that you wish you were? Again, that's not. That's like Kendrick Drake shit. It's like you wish you were on top. You know you don't have it in you to be on top. So you gonna hate on that's on top. Like that's the worst kind of person. And to me, he didn't like Commodus didn't have to do all of that. Obviously, right? Maximus didn't even want the throne like that. That's what's so wild about it. He just wants to go home. Literally, the whole movie is I just want to go home to my wife and kid, right? And this hating ass weirdo puts all this shit on him that he, because he wants the throne. Maximus don't even want that shit. So, anyway, that's why I was like, I couldn't wait. Like, the way he died was fitting. Personally, I would have slapped him at the end too. You know, maybe that would have been too much. I'd have just done, fuck out of here. But anyway, I'm glad he got killed. And he died. Yeah, done. Dropped like a sack of potatoes. He's done. He's over. But this is where, to me, obviously, this movie becomes just legendary. I mean, it was great, obviously, prior. But this shit, this is fucking genius. And they're all watching. Everybody's watching quiet. The music is creeping in. One of my favorite soundtrack pieces ever, Elysium by Hans Zimmer. Phenomenal job. Lisa Gerard does a fantastic job too singing. This is great shit, man. This is great shit. This shit's crazy. And you're like, I want to go there. Okay? So this is the other thing. Sorry to interrupt, but like, this is poetry. This is literal visual poetry. How he's teetering between life and death. Even the way that they set it up. I always pay attention to this as a screenwriter, right? They're setting up the moment that this is a moment, like, we want y'all to watch this. Because everyone's watching this, right? The crowd, people in the crowd are watching this quietly, right? It starts with them. And he's sort of teetering between life and death. Well, we're not sure. Like, we know he's dying, right? And so the little kid is now like, what's this about? Right? And then we see, now it's on to what Maximus sees. Because obviously, when you watch this for the first time, you don't think this is going to happen. You don't think he's going to see Elysium. Even though, again, great writing, the movie starts off essentially with his Elysium type stuff. Like you'll see in the very beginning. Maybe I'll put that up actually. Let's see if I can find the opening scene. Because this is all storytelling. Gladiator, opening scene. There's a moment where he's going through the fields or whatever. And the movie starts off that way, right? Right here. The first image of the film. And it's very sort of has that fantastic feel to it as well. The first image of a film is one of the most important images of the entire film. And that shit is really, it's very hard to come up with a very great first image, right? And a lot of people don't always pay attention to that, but I always pay attention to what is the first image, right? Because it's like, it'll come and go, but in a way it's stuck in your mind and you don't even realize it's stuck. So for them to come back to this moment, right, of him, feeling his hands through the crops, right? It's beautiful. And his ring, you see the ring on his hand, so that tells you he's married or he's someone of importance. Anyway, so the point is that, and the same sort of music, sort of similar. So this is basically my point is we're now at the beginning. And that's how great stories are. It's almost like the beginning, middle, back to the end, which is almost kind of, in a way, an encapsulation of what you saw in the beginning. This is gorgeous stuff. Selfless, right? This is why we fuck with this dude so heavy, because at the end of the day, like, he's a real one. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's a real one. You're like, I mean, he thinks about others, and like, not just him and himself, right? And he snaps out of it and he's like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is, and he knows he's dying, right? So this is my chance to help my people who've been who've suffered because of me, but not obviously. It's not his fault, but he's liberating his people. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant. And then after that, he's like, okay, back to my family, right? Again, the shot from the beginning, but now it's in the metaphorical space, right? And it's interesting to me because as an atheist, right, I'm a non-believer, but this idea of the other world where things are better is a very comforting idea. I mean, I don't subscribe to it personally, but the point is that it doesn't mean that because I'm a non-believer that I'm not moved by this kind of shit. Because emotionally, I'm a human being, and I can understand how beautiful it is to want that, or to be there at least, especially in your dying moments, right? To go to a happier place. Like, that's moving, right? So again, I think people sometimes don't understand that just because you're non-religious or barely religious, that's like, therefore you don't have a sense of awe in the world. I would argue that maybe we might even have a bigger sense in a lot of ways because we see it for what it is, and then we can tease it apart from what's real, what's imagined, what is emotionally real, right? And we can build it up and go, oh, that's beautiful. Whereas people just kind of mix it all together, like, oh yeah, and they don't really see the value in what it is. Anyway, I love this. This is beautiful. Now, I want to go back to this particular shot because I actually, again, Ridley Scott, cinematographer, brilliant. I love this shot because it's sort of like it sort of mirrors him being there and seeing, and he's looking, because at first it's like in the distance you notice he's looking for his family, like he's literally trying to, and then as soon as the shot stabilizes, it's like, oh shit, that's where they are, they're on that road, right? Then he just stops, and as soon as he's found them, that's when he just goes, he freezes and collapses, and that shit's fucking beautiful. Oh, that's like poetry, pure poetry, man. Modern movies are not doing this. They're just not. You know? As soon as he sees his family, he freezes. I found them, finally. Right? I've been looking for them this whole time. I found them. And he just, like, stops. Right? And Russell Crowe acted this brilliantly. And I love how he just drops. It's not even like he, like, falls on the knee or whatever. He just drops. Literally. Very, very powerful stuff. And, of course, the music, the way that they did the music. Again, this is part of this masterpiece shit. The woman is singing, and then the music kind of cuts out, and her note hangs on while he's like staring, and he's like his body is almost gone into its final shock type of thing. It's fucking brilliant. Boom.
Wishes us safe.
And the fact that she knows that that's where he's at, going to his family. You see the little kid and beautiful wife. Yeah, man, this is poetry. This is pure poetry. Gorgeous girl, right? Who wouldn't want to come home to that, right? And it's a very particular, like her look. I think she's actually Latina though, which I think is interesting in a way because this is set in old Roman. Well, I mean, ethnicities and things is like in terms of history, how people moved around. But what I'm trying to say is she does have this sort of like, she's not out of place, like in a way that Mediterranean type of look to her. But I think she's actually Hispanic, if I'm, correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, and I think Ridley Scott actually is married to her. Last time I checked. So, I mean, you know, must have saw something in her. Like, she just has a certain beauty, that otherworldly kind of beauty. But again, it's very much that, like, I can't describe it, but it's like, you know, like the perfect wife look, almost, you know? Anyway, motherly as well, but a very, very great casting choice on her. She doesn't speak, but she just has, I don't remember in the movie if she speaks. I don't think she does, but She just has the look. And sometimes some people, and that's film, you just have the look. And it's something about your presence and your look that just radiates a certain energy, and that should be captured on camera. Not a little bit. And then this just shit's fucking great. This is beautiful. Just that acting emotion, which is like this. That's beautiful. Like, okay, so that works on multiple levels. One, she's like, you're home. She realizes he's gone. He's passed. Okay? And she's kind of like this, like, you know, it's one of those acting motions that can mean multiple things. So she's taking in the reality that this man that she's actually in love with has passed. Okay? And so that's sad. She's just recognizing that. But the other part of it that's also brilliant about that particular sort of gesture is that she's also honoring him and paying respect. It's like, this was the king. This is the true king of Rome. And she's doing like this. And then, of course, you hear the music that comes in, which is literally called Honor Him. And she says to the audience, we must honor him. Right? Again, that's great acting. It doesn't have to tell you everything, but just the simple moments are so well done that they do tell you a lot of things. Right? Music is just, oh my God.
Is Rome worth one good man's life? We believed it was. Make us believe it again. He was a soldier of Rome. Honor him.
Who will help me carry him?
Leave that goofy in the field. Oh my God. The worst. This was a great little ending part. Djimon Hounsou. I've always liked his look. He's like, he has that stoic thing to him that works really well.
Now we're free. We'll see you again. But not yet.
Not yet. Great ending. And how bluish he looks. Anyways, it's spiritual, right? They say that blue is sort of like the color of the clouds of the spirits, and so his, you know, I'm sure that was deliberate. They put their little filter on him, and now it's like almost like Maximus's peace has brought, death has brought peace to the gladiator world, and you know, to Rome and things. And so this is beautiful. It's empty, no more violence. You know, it's just well tastefully done. We see the Colosseum, no people in it. Move to the clouds, right? Okay, so that's that. Now, brilliant. Okay, now compare this with. You know they're not going to make something as great. And I don't want to shit on him. Ridley Scott's a genius, okay? I even liked House of Gucci. A lot of people were like, oh, or some people were like, it wasn't great. I thought House of Gucci was one of the better movies of its year, without a doubt. I think Ridley Scott's a genius, and obviously Gladiator is one of the greatest films ever made. So it is nice that he's doing the second one. I think the continuity of that is great. But again, this trailer had me a little nervous. You know what I'm saying? A little bit, right? So you compare all that to a trailer. This trailer is too long. Number one, this trailer was way too long. I think most people felt that. There's no reason for a 3-minute trailer of something like this. In fact, I feel like this is one of those movies where the less you know about it, the better. right? Because everyone is going to, we all know Gladiator. At this point, 20 years have passed, more than 20 years. We all know, 20 years. No, yeah, 20 years, jeez. It's 24 years. We all know Gladiator. And frankly, like, the less we know about it, the new one, the better. Just say, look, they're doing Gladiator, show that it exists, be there, type of thing. That's just my opinion. So this trailer is too long. I think that's one of the issues, without a doubt. Then we also come to the infamous part.
I need to only give it a push. I was on. Now I'm in control.
So now we come to the hip hop part, which obviously is going to get hate. I think some of it is justified. Obviously, some of it is racist, but that's just the nature of the game. You see Denzel Washington, what's he doing in Rome? You know, hip hop. Oh, yeah, this is great, perfect. We can, you know, the incels can bomb IMDb and downvote it. It's perfect. Now, I do think that throwing in the hip hop thing was a bad idea, and I know that they're trying to also show that this is something new, and this is good for the newer audience. But again, I think that disrespects what Gladiator was about. Gladiator has this spiritual vibe to it, you know, like the music. Hans Zimmer's score is such a massive part of what made that movie great. Again, the movie would have been phenomenal, even, I don't want to say without Hans Zimmer's score, because obviously the script was phenomenal, the acting was phenomenal, the direction was phenomenal, everything was phenomenal. But that musical core added a whole other weight to it. And so and we all know about the music. It's literally one of the most famous movie scores, you could argue, ever. So to put like some like sort of pop, and not even like real hip hop shit, it's just like some pop, rap-y, R&B pop thing going on. It's like, it just feels commercial and cheap, right? And this is what people are responding to. Now, what I think is interesting of why they chose to do hip hop in general. Well, hip hop runs the world. All right, well, not necessarily hip hop, but a pop version. Pop runs the world. Pop will probably always run the world, but pop has amalgamated hip hop stuff now. So like, it's a pop, rap, R&B hybrid, right, type of thing that exists now. So including that to me is interesting in a way that, like, yeah, hip hop people have always loved Gladiator. Again, like, part of the reason I think why hip hop was so dope is that hip hop would borrow and sample movie scores and things like that, right? And it's a thing. Like, the young black kids coming out watching stuff would watch this kind of stuff and go, shit, go back into the studio and write some crazy rhymes. You know what I'm saying? So I think hip hop definitely. Now, I don't remember if there was a lot of like Gladiator references in hip hop necessarily, but I'm not surprised that the second one would have this sort of like hip hop-ish thing in the trailer. Like, I'm just not surprised. They're probably thinking to themselves like, what's the audience here? It's like a younger audience who, you know, are like into rap to a certain extent, right? Just like the ones when this came out was probably big with them. So anyway, but I don't think that this was necessarily the greatest move. I remember seeing a comment online that had me dying, and the dude was basically saying that Denzel Washington looks confused, right? Like, he looks like he's playing Maximus in Training Day 2. That shit had me crying. That shit had me crying. Obviously, because Maximus is dead and Training Day 2 doesn't exist, and the Training Day character died, right? But this is where Gladiator 2 is going to look. We don't know. It's hard to say how great of the movie would be. It's tough. It's really tough, man. But look, that first movie was something else, y'all. And I would, again, in this trailer, I would have kept it short, a minute and a half, because people who are going to see Gladiator 2 will see it. I think they've pretty much already made their minds up. There's a couple of people that maybe didn't see the first one, but again, like, it's such an ubiquitous movie that's like, how could you have not seen this movie? So, and even if they hadn't seen it, they would have heard about how great the first one is, you know? So I still think they should have put something musical, in a sense, maybe orchestral, like some score as opposed to like hip-hop. But again, maybe they also thought, like, if it doesn't have the same hit that the Hans Zimmer one did, maybe they would make it look, it wouldn't work, right? And it would look inferior. So, but if you put some hip hop shit, it's like you can't tell. But again, it's a gamble either way, right? That's what happens when you're making these kind of movies. look, listen, I'm gonna see this movie, so I'm telling you now, like, I'll watch Gladiator 2 because it's Gladiator 2, right? I love the first one of the greatest movies ever, very well written, phenomenal score. So I will see it, and hopefully it's good. You know, I don't. I'm not holding my breath, but I will see it, and so maybe I'll do a video then. Okay. Anyway, peace.